'Tis the season!
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be playing some funky-looking Omen. Yes! We're going to be playing some Jenos, and we're going to be talking about Jenos' sort of volatile time in the meta here in Season 6. He's gone from being pretty trash and nowhere close to being meta at all, to being literally meta-defining for a few patches, to now kind of being back down close to where he was as one of the worst supports in the game. At least if we're going by win rates, he is bottom 3 consistently, although not quite the worst. Definitely not quite the worst. And we have 3 supports on this team, so we should be adequately getting healing, at least I hope so. Oh goodness. Imagine if we struggle on that. And, yeah, Jenos is just, he's had a very, very interesting time, and I want to talk about it because it's actually quite the story to tell. Jenos has, well, he hasn't been doing super hot, or at least not now and not at the start of the season, but then he had this massive bumper of his meta and then just instantly disappeared. Like, his rise was super, super quick, and then his fall was equally quick. And I want to talk about it because I think it'd be an interesting video topic. And also, I have to say that over the past few days, I have been feeling rather ill. I didn't stream on Friday. Yesterday, I'm recording this on Saturday, by the way. I didn't record on, I didn't stream on Friday. Geez, get my words together. And yeah, I uploaded stream highlights instead of actually making proper videos. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to record proper videos for you guys, but I was not feeling good. This is the first day where I actually feel like I might be able to record something, so I'm going to give it my best effort. But yeah, that's why the past few days have been kind of weird, and if this video turns out to be weird, that's why. Quick Luminary build, duration, cooldowns, self-sustain, just a very standard Jenos build, and then we got Chronos as well. And yep, both of our other supports are going damage. That's perfect, because I'm playing healer Jenos. Yeah. So, let's give a bit of context. Why was Jenos so bad in the first place? Why did he need those buffs during the season? Well, Jenos simply was not really doing that... was not really doing that much healing relative to other supports, even back then before all the supports got massively buffed like they have in recent days. So, by comparison to other supports, he wasn't really cutting it in that department, and then he didn't really offer much else. He's always had the ability to kind of peek behind walls, which is nice with his movement ability, but it's really small utility, and then the actual movement ability itself, in terms of traversal, it's consistent, but it's really not great for evasion. Other supports have much better movement abilities in this regard, like Domba's Slither, which provides him immunity, or Grover with his Vine Tech, Ceres with her Shadow Travel even, you could argue is a little bit better, at least in terms of survivability. So it's not like the greatest, you know? And then Void Grip is certainly a good trapping ability, like Watch will help trap that guy for a split second. But, yeah, it does have its flaws as well. Jenos can't shoot while he's using Void Grip, nor can he use any other ability, and if his teammates aren't there, it's really just gonna suck. And if you compare that to other supports, like Ceres with her stun, Grover with his cripple, Furia with her stun, etc., etc., their crowd control is a lot more, I guess, I don't really know what the term is, active, I would say, as in the support can actually kill the character after they use their crowd control, and Jenos simply cannot do that. Lucky shot, go! Nope, okay. His damage is pretty decent. He can do a decent amount of damage throughout the match. He doesn't have a channeled healing ability. I wasn't able to touch. But yeah, he doesn't have a channeled healing ability, and he has, you know, a hit scan weapon that's really easy to use and does a decent amount of damage. So that's actually one positive about Jenos. But in general, it just wasn't cutting it compared to other supports, even back then. Especially because right at the start of the season, Jenos still hadn't been buffed yet, and they just added all these keywords that made keyword supports ridiculously strong, and so Jenos was feeling even weaker in comparison to those supports. So they buffed him. They gave him a trifecta of buffs, all to his Astromark, which made him absolutely bonkers. They buffed the cooldown, they buffed the duration, and they buffed the burst on Luminary and his base heal, all in one. And that was just too much. And it turned him into one of the strongest heal bots in the game for raw healing output. Because, you know, Jenos had really good healing, and he has one key strength that most other supports don't have. And that's that fact that he can heal through walls. Bam, like that. While also having a really easy auto-aim heal to use. There are not basically any supports that can do what Jenos can do in that regard, apart from Grover. Grover is the only other one who can do that. And even then, Jenos has the added benefit of consistency, where that guy's all the way over there, I'm still healing him because I put a mark on him like 10 seconds ago. So that is really, really good. Oh man, I didn't hit anybody. So when you combined that utility with the fact they buffed his healing to an absurdity, it made him S tier for a patch. Literally, he was a must pick or must ban in ranked. You saw Jenos everywhere. And, you know, even though he still had that utility before, again, the healing numbers just weren't up there enough, and the rest of the utility wasn't up there enough, that, you know, he just wasn't really picked as much beforehand. I believe he also had some card bugs that were afflicting him around the time, which also, you know, kind of hurt him a little bit. So yeah, they went absolutely crazy on the buffs. It was obviously a problem. So then they decided to nerf Jenos, and they decided to nerf Jenos in a way that would put him kind of halfway between where he was at his peak and where he was at his, lowest, right? So they I believe they literally went midway on the buffs, right? So I believe, like, for example, I think the cooldown got buffed by 2 seconds, so they nerfed it by 1 second. So it was still 1 second higher than it was previously, but not quite as strong as it was at his peak. And that's where he is now, and he hasn't really been changed since. And Jenos now, I would say, is in a fine state in terms of, like, he's not, you know, the worst support in the game, by no means. And he still has his utility, where he's actually still a favorable choice on a map like Dawnforge, where Dawnforge has 15 million walls that are really hard for conventional supports to heal through, but Jenos is your man on that map. He and Grover are the two really good picks there. So it's not like he's in a terrible position right now, but he's certainly not in a great position. And I think another reason to thank for that actually has nothing to do with Jenos at all, but actually a little thing called power creep. You see, after Jenos got nerfed, they also decided, hey, wouldn't it be great if we just buffed a few other supports alongside these supports that are already now stronger than Jenos because they have keywords? Like, when Jenos got nerfed, Grover was still stronger, Furia was still stronger, Lilith was still stronger, admittedly without keywords, but, you know, Lilith is just Lilith. So you already had a bunch of supports that were stronger than Jenos. But then, you know, in the Valor's End update, it's like, oh, hey, what if we also buffed Ying to infinity so that she is actually a better heal bot now than Jenos was before, at the cost of not being able to, you know, heal through walls. Unless you're using the ult like she is now, in which case everybody's immortal. Let's go. Ha! But then also Io's better than Jenos right now. She got massive buffs. I don't know if you would say... I probably wouldn't say Saris is better than Jenos, at least in terms of high elo. If you're talking low elo, maybe. But yeah, they just made a bunch more supports better than Jenos. And so relatively, even though Jenos now in Valor's End hasn't changed, he's just the same as he was last patch, he's now fallen a little bit underneath these other supports. Because, hey, all of a sudden these other supports are now frickin' crazy. And it all harkens back to a problem that I have been calling out now for at least a month, maybe 2. Probably even more, actually. Which is that I think supports are trending to a point where they are getting too powerful in this game. I've talked about it before, especially when talking about Maldamba. And I think we're just seeing a trend where these supports are getting crazy. I mean, now we are closer to a double support meta than ever, if we're not already in one. Some might argue we're already in one. I mean, look, we've got 3 supports on this team. We're not winning right now, but it's casuals, but, you know. Like, double support at the very least is more viable now than ever. Supports are just absolutely crazy. Ying is a must ban. She is everywhere. It's crazy. And I think it all has to do with... Oh, I couldn't make him miss a shot. He dies, though, yes. But I think it has to do with these keywords. They added keywords as an attempt to kind of stop double support, funnily enough. But double support was already waning when they added them. And then, now all of a sudden, we've got keyword supports that are all really strong. You know, Furia's had such a calamitous time in Season 6. I mean, how many reworks has she got in Season 6? It's absolutely crazy. And then, you know, Grover's been S tier literally the entire time in Season 6. Even Pip had to get his first combat medic nerf in, you know, ever. So these guys are crazy, and then instead of, you know, fixing keywords or nerfing keywords or anything like that, or, excuse me, not nerfing keywords, but nerfing, like, the keyword supports, right? Or just getting rid of keywords outright. Doing anything to address those supports. Instead, what they've done, I feel like they've ended up buffing most other supports to compensate for the fact that now these keyword supports are ridiculous. And it's led to a situation where now, like, every support is a monster. A powerhouse. Or at least, you know, a good portion of the roster for that, right? And then anyone who's not a massive overpowered beast is left in the dustpan of history is just like, oh, wow, that's kind of a mediocre support. Even though they're perfectly capable. I don't feel like I'm playing an incapable support right now. Jenos still feels fine. But, you know, he's the third lowest win rate support right now. And the same can be said for Damba. I've talked about this before. Damba statistically is the highest he's ever been in terms of all of his numbers, his health, his healing, etc. He's the worst or the second worst support right now. You know, depending on the day you look at the win rates, he's either higher or lower than Sarah's. And that's just absurd. It's absolutely absurd, right? So, I suppose I want, once again, want to call that out as a problem that I think the game is facing, and I would really like to see reversed, you know, soon, because I don't want supports to be overpowered, right? I don't want any class to feel overbearing and overpowered, you know? But supports in particular, is one of those classes where, like, if they're too strong, it feels terrible, because nothing dies. And it's just like, why do my bullets do no damage? And that's just, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling in a first-person shooter to have your bullets do nothing. So that's why I want to bring this to attention, and why I've, you know, hearkened, what's the word I want to use? Not hearkened, yammered on about it? I don't know. There's a word I'm trying to use. My brain's itchy. I don't know. I blame this this stomach flu or whatever I've been having. I think it's a stomach flu. I had a fever the other night, and how do I put this politely? I've had to use the bathroom a lot. We'll leave it at that.
5, 4, 3, 2,
it's not good, man. It's not good. So yeah, words. Yes, that's why I'm trying to bring this up again. And also I figured I'd play Jenos today because he's easy. You know, easy to play after being sick. So, yeah. You should be fine, right? You're Ying. Oh, you don't have ult. That might be bad. Constead as well. He is completely out of position. He got the Vic. The rest of us are, like, so far back here. I'm not gonna, you know, leave these guys, because I'm Jenos. What am I gonna do? Run away. Run away. Nothing I can do to help that Imani either yet. Come here! There you go. Gotcha. We need to get some kills, though. That was a good route. There we go, nice. Sadly, we lost Ying. Alright. Uh-oh. Come on, Khan. I'll throw this out. Oh, man, I am so unlucky with these ults. I feel like Jenos' ult is another sort of pain point compared to other supports. It's not bad. You know, when it works, it's actually really good. But it's just really inconsistent, you know? Like, you have to have a really big brain to make it consistent. And even then, sometimes you just can't. You just can't. Like, you know, the enemies will just, you know, dash out of it, or they'll tank it, or whatever, and it's just like, oh man, that kind of sucks. But, like, you know, compare that to an ult that's just more reliable, and also equally as powerful, if not more powerful, like Ying ult, or Furia ult, or Grover ult, or something like that. Might be another last sort of pain point we could touch on with Jenos before, yeah, ending off the video here. So yeah, pretty unfortunate that we lost that game, but really we just did not have damage. We played a triple support, and as the Jenos, I actually outdamaged one of them, and got the same amount of kills. Let's go. Yeah, I don't think Jenos is terrible by any means right now. I certainly, you know, definitely think that he's worse than a lot of the meta supports right now, but it's kind of the same thing as Zombo, where, like, you know, he's competent. But that's it. He's just competent, and so, you know, there's just so much, like, uber strong stuff right now in the support class that, well, I mean, what's the point of picking him, right? Especially when Grover exists. Oh, goodness. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Jenos in the comment section down below, and please let me know your thoughts on what I said about the support class. Do you think I'm right with where the support class is trending, where it's getting to the point that it's going to be too strong, we're entering a double support meta, and it needs to be toned back a bit? Let me know what you think about that. Also, to touch on that, one very last thing, that doesn't mean I don't like the reworks and stuff. You know, I actually really like some of the talent reworks that they've done. Obviously, Fury is a bit of a mess. I won't really comment too much about that, although I do like the one change they did to Solar Blessing a while back, where it, like, you know, lingers on a target after they leave the beam. I think that was good. But, like IO, for example, I actually really like these talent reworks. This one, Lifelink, I think, you know, even if it's not, like, meta, it's still just, it's cool, you know. I'm not going to complain about that. I think their heart's in the right place. I think it's just, you know, they're way overbearing in terms of these support buffs, and they have the wrong idea about keywords, where they're trying to buff everybody up to keyword levels, thinking that it's a problem that these supports aren't at the keyword levels, right? Instead of realizing that the keyword supports were the problem and that they should be brought down instead, or just remove keywords. I think that's the ultimate point, the ultimate way to help fix some of this balance is, hey, let's just finally get rid of keywords. All right, it was an experiment. It's been experimented with for a whole season now. I think it's time to let it go. But yeah. Anyways, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you're new around here. And also check out the Twitch channel and the Discord server, both of which are linked in the description down below. Lastly, if you want to support me and keep me doing what I'm doing, please consider checking out the memberships program linked down in the description. You can click join. And, well, you'll be able to support this channel for a very, very cheap price. You'll get some stuff back in return. It's an awesome deal. I recommend checking it out. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.